I'll never look at a shiny Eevee the same way again. Ever. It started a few days ago. I was on the internet looking for action replay codes. I really wanted one for either shiny Vulpix or shiny Eevee. Then I found one for that shiny Eevee I wanted so much. The code was long, but I was willing to take the time to put in. It took 15 minutes to put the code in, but I was so excited to get the code into action. I started my Soul Silver game up with the code. I clicked on continue, and my previous save data came up. I was saved right in front of Pokémon Center. I rushed into the place with my Typhlosion following behind me. I went to the PC and pressed A. Claus booted up the PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon storage system activated. I pressed L and R buttons down and moved to box 5 where a shiny Eevee was supposed to come up. I moved the cursor over Eevee. It was named E, and it was level 1. Its moves were Tackle, Growl, Sand Attack, and Swift. I took out my level 1 Grantina from my party and put it in the first box of the PC. Afterwards, I put E in my party. I wanted to trade it into my Heart Gold version since it was the only one I play. I got my other DS and popped Heart Gold into it. I turned it on and clicked continue. Only once both of my players were in the Union Room, I started to trade. I traded a Cubone into my Soul Silver and in return for E. Once the Pokemon were traded into the separate versions, I make both players leave the Union Room and save, one at a time. Once turning off the system Soul Silver was in, I went to play Heart Gold. I wanted to clone E so I could get the rest of the evolutions. I wonder if I have a Thunderstone, I wondered to myself as I opened my character's bag. The only evolution stone I had was a Water Stone. Vaporeon will do for now, I guess. I clicked A on the Water Stone and clicked on E. I watched as the Eevee evolved into a pink Vaporeon. Once the evolution process was done, I saved the game and turned it off, as it was time for me to go to bed. Several days passed. I had gotten all the shiny evolutions, except for Flareon, but that didn't matter to me. I'd get it later. I wanted to get E back into my Soul Silver. I got my DS and popped in my Action Replay DSi along with Soul Silver. Once the code list loaded, I clicked on the tiny shiny Eevee code and started up the game. I clicked continue as soon as the option came up. I was saved in the Pokémon Center this time. I ran to the PC. Claus booted up PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokémon Stage System activated. I was already in box 5. I moved to box 6 and held down R and L buttons. I moved back into box 5. Instead of Eevee icon in the box, there was an egg icon. I moved my cursor to it. It was a bad egg. I moved the egg to the side box and tried again. Another bad egg. I moved this egg to the bottom and tried a third time. This time E appeared in the box. I moved E back into my party. I wanted to train him. I disregarded the fact that I had 2 bad eggs in my PC box and logged off the PC. I ran out of the Pokémon Center to train E. I had the max EXP code on, so this would be easy. After flying to Goldenrod City, on my Ho-Oh, I ran out of the city knowing that I had sneaked past some trainers. One trainer had spotted me. I sent out E. The opposing trainer had sent out a level 10 Diglett. I return E and send out my trusty Typhlosion. After the foe's Diglett attacked, I selected Typhlosion's command. This wouldn't be hard for him at all, since he was level 100. I selected Slash. Typhlosion used Slash. Foe Diglett fainted. I held down the R button so E would gain max experience points. E grew to level 2. E grew to level 3. This went on until E grew to level 37. Trainer is about to send out Zubat. Will Claws change Pokemon? I selected yes and sent out E. Go, E! Trainer sent out Zubat. I selected the fight command, then chose Swift. E used Swift. Foe Zubat died. Their Zubat died? I questioned. I shook my head and ignored it, although my confusion. I had forgotten to hold down the R button to get max EXP from Eevee. Trainer is about to send out Diglett. Will Claws switch Pokemon? I select no this time. Trainer sent out Diglett. What will E do? I select the fight option and choose Swift again. E used Swift. Foe Diglett died. Again, the Pokemon had died. Even though this still confused me, I remembered to hold the R button. E grew to level 38. E grew to level 39. E grew to level 40. This continued until E reached level 52. The opposing trainer didn't do anything after I beat him. Before the screen went back to the overworld, I got the evolution screen, and E was on there. What? Eevee is evolving! The animation started showing it was trying to evolve into Espeon. I clicked the B button since I already had a shiny Espeon. What? E stopped evolving. I noticed that E seemed to be angry. I ignored it and go on to training it. After about 5 minutes or so, E was trying to evolve into Espeon again. I pressed the B button again, and E seemed even angrier at me. I was once again in the overworld. Before I could do anything, my trainer faced E, and an angry icon appeared above the shiny Eevee's head. E wants to evolve into Espeon. The yes or no options came up. Being that I didn't want to evolve it into Espeon, I said no. The angry icon appeared above E's head again, and the small sprite jumped up and down as if it was throwing a tantrum. E wants to evolve. Another yes or no option came up. I clicked no again. E didn't do anything this time. I opened my party and all my Pokemon were now bad eggs. Except for Eevee. I clicked on E, then on Summary. Eevee's sprite had an evil-looking smirk on its face and red eyes. I was starting to get tired of it. I went to the Pokemon Center and went to the PC. Claus booted up BC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon Storage System activated. I select E, then clicked on Release. E won't leave without a fight. Suddenly, I'm dragged into a random encounter. E wants to fight. Go, Typhlosion! There were two things I noticed here. The first thing that I was suddenly had my Typhlosion back. The second thing was that both Eevee and Typhlosion's sprites were bloody. E still had that grin on its face, and now there was blood on its eyes and ears. Typhlosion's sprite looked very much like it was in pain. Blood was dripping from its mouth and nose. Flesh was exposed on its forehead. The flame on its neck looked weak. What will Typhlosion do? I clicked the fight command, then chose flamethrower. Typhlosion is scared. What? I whispered to myself. I didn't know Pokemon would get scared to attack. E used Bite. The attack dealt much damage to my Typhlosion, but it wasn't down yet. There was more blood on it now than before. What will Typhlosion do? Fight. Flamethrower. Typhlosion is scared. I sighed. Again? I whispered. Eevee used Kill. Typhlosion has died. No! I yelled. I was glad my dad wasn't home when I had said that. Claus is out of usable Pokemon. Claus fell victim to Eevee. I was once again confused. What did it mean by fell victim? I was back in the overworld, but I seemed to be Lex Forest instead of the Pokemon Center. The forest was dark red instead of the normal green color. Bones and rotting flesh were strewn across the area. The little pond was blood red too. At this point, I was starting to get sick to my stomach. Then I noticed something. E was right in front of my trainer. E's sprite jumped up and down. E wants you to suffer. I was getting scared to go on with this. I moved my thumb towards the power button. Don't you even try it! You're not getting away from me! A voice came through the speakers of my DS. I assumed the voice belonged to E. The screen turned black, and the only sound I could hear is what sounded like slashing. When the Overlord came back, I saw my trainer laying on the ground in a pool of blood. He had an arm missing and a leg missing. His eyes were pitch black. I presumed his eyes were torn out. Eevee's sprite jumped up and down again with a happy icon appearing above its head. I tried turning the game off, and to my surprise, it worked this time. I sat on my couch speechless and breathed hard for a moment. Turning it back on, I clicked Soul Silver once again. After the title screen came up, I immediately was taken into a wild encounter. My trainer sprite was missing eyes and an arm. I swallowed hard. This greatly disturbed me. When the opposing Pokemon appeared, E attacked. I noticed that E had shiny Espeon ears and tail and a jewel. Blood was dripping from the ears and tail and jewel. Its eyes were red and also had dripping blood from them. Its cry was like a demonic version of Espeon's cry. The only option was ball, and I clicked it. Claus used one Pokeball. E goes into the ball, it shakes once, and E breaks out. E doesn't want to go back. E used Kill. Oh no, I said quietly to myself. There was a flash of crimson red before a text box came up. E killed Claus. The screen went back to my overworld. My trainer's sprite wasn't there. E's sprite was now grinning widely. You should have let me evolve. E's voice echoed through the speakers of my DS. The game turned itself off as E finished talking. I was too terrified to turn it back on. I threw my DS at the wall, and surprisingly, only my Soul Silver game pops out. I picked it up and threw it in the trash can in the corner of my room. I sat there on my couch wondering what had just happened. I turned on my TV and there was a black screen. I figured I had left it on the channel I played my Wii. I turned through channels before leaving it on 29. The screen remained black. I sighed and reached to press the power button. But before I could, an eerie voice came through the speakers. You should have let me evolve.